Well, let's now have a conversation with Alice Arogbonlo, Research and Policy Analyst at BudgIT Foundation. I hope I did not murder your name. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you very
Alice.
much.
Yeah, so let's focus really on the presidential priorities and ministerial deliverables that was presented today. I believe it was for Q4 or the part 4 of it by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy. You were there, from what I hear. Are we seeing genuine progress as the government is claiming, or are we still in the realm of rhetoric and slogans? What is BudgIT seeing? I mean, what are your analysis and research showing?
Okay, thank you very much. The Nigerian government presented the budgets, and it's about 49.7 trillion naira. Mm-hmm. And though the figures are very ambitious, I must say, they said they'll be able to reduce inflation from 34% to 15%, which is very, very ambitious. So for budgets, for us, we see that we have a number of drivers for this inflation, okay, which is insecurity, infrastructure, lack of access to credit facilities, which is actually affecting the common man. What the common man wants to see is that they want to see an end to their suffering.
Exactly.
Right? But the government is saying, oh, we are working, but the common man is not seeing that. So we want to see realistic outcome. Mm. People want to be able to see that this thing actually translating to good outcomes for them.
And I think that answers my next question, because I was going to ask you, do all of this translate to tangible results and outcome for the ordinary Nigerians? I mean, we hear the government say inflation. We had the finance minister who spoke earlier on Arise News say the runaway inflation is actually coming back. They're tracking it. But when you look at the budget that has been presented for 2025, those priority areas that you mentioned, such as defense, agriculture, health and education, socio-economic matters, top the priority of the budget. So does it look like when the government says we are working, they are actually working? Are they giving priority to things that matter?
Okay, I'll put it this way. The government is actually doing their best, but there are actually challenges. Let's say, for example, when the minister spoke today, they're actually focusing on the oil and gas sector. There are actually other sectors that they should prioritize, like the health sector, the agricultural sector, and also let's talk about the extractives as well. We've been having a lot of buzz around energy transition, mm-hmm, and I feel we need to make sure that we prioritize the transitional resources. For example, the lithium ion. The lithium is used in producing batteries. And government is saying we want to prioritize electric mobility, we want to prioritize CNG. So why don't we use this to our advantage? When we do so, we'll be able to attract more investment into the country rather than just focusing on oil and gas, because you know that prices of oil globally is highly volatile. And with this energy transition goal we are talking about, we need to make sure we focus on the right things: agriculture, health, and other non-oil sector.
In other words, the priorities are not yet just right.
Yes, please.
And something else he touched on today was revenue, because you cannot achieve all of these promises without the money, to back it up. He talked about $20 billion annually to reach the target by 2027. We know that the administration is focusing on having a $1 trillion economy in the next 5 years by 2030. Where would that money come from? I mean, you've mentioned non-oil sector, lithium, extractive industry, but would that give us the $20 billion Mr. Wale Edwin is talking about?
No, it wouldn't give us the money we're talking about. So I'll track back before I answer your question. So, for example, in the oil and gas sector, can you cut?
Go ahead.
So, for example, in the oil and gas sector, we have a lot of investments already in the oil and gas sector. So the government needs to prioritize other sectors to, mm-hmm, be able to get revenue. So they also need a lot of private sector investments in all of these other sectors to be able to get this revenue. So I'll also talk about the 2024 budget. The 2024 budget has not been fully implemented, and now you're talking about 49.6 trillion naira. So where will the money come from? Meaning you don't have enough money to even implement the 2025 budget.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that there is huge implementation for this.
Finally, let me ask you, because I know budget emphasizes a lot on transparency in government. How transparent has this government been? And when we talk about leakages and mismanagement, because we talk about revenue, but there's also the problem and challenge of leakages. So how transparent has the administration been? And do you think that these two play a huge factor in where we are at the moment?
Yes, please. I would say the government is trying their best to be transparent. For example, the stakeholders engagement they held today, they're trying to their best to be transparent. But I think they need to be more transparent in terms of infrastructural project implementation. So people are more involved. When people are more involved, then they know what these numbers are actually translating into.
Thank you very much. From the Budget Foundation, we have Alice Arogbonlo. Did I get that name properly?
Please.
Thank you so much, Alice, for being here. She's from the Research and Policy. She's a Research and Policy Analyst. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you very much.